Good afternoon and welcome to WEFM's 3 p.m. news. I am your presenter, Rajiv Providence. First, on the local scene, the issue of regional air transportation is continuing to receive the attention of Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. The Prime Minister said on WEFM's Issue at Hand program on Sunday that he is continuing to look at ways to bring a solution to the issue of regional air transport. Dr. Gonsalves said he has held discussions with the leadership of the Mustique Company on the purchase or lease of 3 additional aircraft. We hear more from the Prime Minister.
During systematic monitoring,
I'm continuing to push, and I had a discussion with the leadership of the Mustique Company to see if they could purchase or lease 3 additional Twin Otters. They have 5 at the moment, which they purchase. SVG Air has 2. SVG Air is going to get another 1. So if they have SVG Air got 3 and the Mustique Company, Air Delphi, they've just gotten their air operating certificate in December, so they could operate under their own. They have good space out at Argyle with their hangar and space to expand to. If they increase their fleet, which it seems as though they're going to take it to the board only this week, this month. There can be cooperation and we can have the proper scheduled flight with all those Twin Otters.
That was the Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, speaking on WEFM's Issue at Hand program. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is conducting an investigation into the circumstances surrounding a shooting that left 1 man dead and another with gunshot wounds. The deceased has been identified as Jomo Broody. The incident occurred at Poliad in Annesville on April 10th. According to investigations, Jomo Broody and another man, both of Annesville, were standing at Broody's shop when they were approached by a masked man who opened fire on them. Both men sustained injuries to their bodies as a result of the incident. They were rushed to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital for medical treatment. However, Broody died as a result of his injuries the following day. Still on the local scene, an increase in rodent activity in Kingstown has been detected following systematic monitoring by the Vector Control Unit. This is according to Environmental Health Officer Ralph Williams in an interview with the Agency for Public Information, who said this discovery has led to an initiative being launched to minimize Kingstown's rodent population. We hear more from Mr. Williams.
during systematic monitoring of rodent by the rodent team in the insect vector control unit, they discover that there is an increase in activities, and that is rodent activities in Kingstown. So hence they decide to take this initiative to at least eliminate all the rodents, but you could bring it under control.
That was Environmental Health Officer Ralph Williams. The Vector Control Unit under the Public Health Department recently ramped up its efforts to control the rodent population in capital city Kingstown. This comes in the form of a project that takes into consideration data collection, public perception of rodents in Kingstown, includes a baiting program, and more. On to news in the region. An annual allocation of $2 trillion is required for developing countries to respond to the effects of climate change, says Professor Avinash Prasad, Special Envoy to the Prime Minister of Barbados for Investment and Financial Services. He was among recent forum participants, during which the collective call was for a global coalition to fund climate mitigation and adaptation. The number is bigger than any developing country's balance sheet. It's beyond all the philanthropists. It's a big number. Bridgetown is a system of finance that gets us to $2 trillion a year, he said while speaking recently at the University of the West Indies, UWI, Virtual Vice Chancellor's Forum on the Bridgetown Initiative. The Bridgetown Initiative was devised by a group led by Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley and Prasad, which aims to overcome some of the main shortcomings of mobilizing climate finance for small island developing states. The idea was first unveiled by Motley at COP26 Glasgow and further developed with help of international academics and civil society during a gathering in July 2022 at Bridgetown, Barbados. A 26-year-old man in Bermuda will spend the next 16 years in prison for sexually abusing a child. Malik Martin, who was found guilty of the charges in December 2022, received the sentence from a Supreme Court judge yesterday. The Bermuda Police Service, BPS, said Martin received 13.5 years imprisonment on the charge of sexual exploitation of a young person while being a person in trust, 16 years imprisonment for sexual exploitation of a young person, and 6 years imprisonment for showing abusive images to a young person. At the trial, Martin became the first sex offender to be pursued in court using the Special Measures for Child Witnesses in Criminal Cases legislation, which allowed for pre recorded evidence from the child to be used during trial. Finally, on the international scene, Tennessee's Republican governor has signed an executive order to strengthen background checks for the purchase of guns and has urged lawmakers to pass legislation tightening gun laws. Governor Bill Lee's order comes in the wake of the Nashville school shooting that left 6 people, including 3 children, dead last month. This is our moment to lead, he said. The state has some of the most lax gun laws in the U.S. The shooting at a private Christian school reignited nationwide protests for gun control, including from 2 Democratic black state lawmakers who were expelled last week for joining the protests at Tennessee's House of Representatives. Nashville officials voted to reinstate one of the lawmakers, Justin Jones, as a temporary representative earlier this week. Officials are set to vote on Wednesday on whether the second lawmaker, Justin Pearson, can also reclaim his seat temporarily. This has been WEFM's 3 p.m. news. I have been your presenter, Rajiv Providence. Join us again at 5:30 for WEFM's evening news, and we thank you for listening.